So there are essentially two ways to calculate macros on keto: by using an online calculator and by using body weight. There are plenty of online calculators on the internet. You simply search for keto macro calculator and there'll be a lot of different choices there for you. So for this, you will need to know your weight, your height, body fat percentage and your exercise level, the percentage of weight you want to lose, the number of carbs you want to eat per day, and some may also ask you for the percentage of protein you want to eat per day. At the end of inputting all of this information, you will be given the number of calories to eat, plus the number of carbs, proteins and fats. You will also be given your BMR or your basal metabolic rate and your TDEE or your total daily energy expenditure. For this you will need your weight in kilograms and optionally a calculator. I would recommend to begin with working within a range for each macro, that is an upper and a lower threshold, and that way you will begin to see a trend towards how satiated you feel after a meal. So here is a table that I like to use. Remember, calculating macros like this for keto is about first ensuring the carbs are kept low, so those numbers have to be low for the individual, and then adding in nutrition that the body really needs by way of proteins and fats. So for somebody just starting keto, a good range to consider could be somewhere between 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day and 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. However, that 1.2 lower threshold might be too much for some people, and I know it was for me when I first started, and that was to do with my gut health issues. So I had to reduce down to, it was 1 gram, and then I had to work up from that lower threshold. So this is an example for somebody who has a body weight of 80 kilograms, and I'm using those thresholds of 1.2 to 1.6. So to calculate the lower threshold would be 80 multiplied by 1.2 being the lower threshold, which gives a lower threshold amount of 96 grams of protein. And then to set the upper threshold, that would be 80 multiplied by 1.6, and that gives an upper threshold of 128 grams of protein per day. And as the body becomes more responsive to protein, the amounts of protein can be increased over time. For me personally, I have found that I thrive best between a range of about 1.4 and 2.2 grams, although that upper threshold is something that I've really had to work up to over the years. And I'm aware of people who have eaten far more than that. However, I've yet to see any evidence that going above that for somebody like myself, who is not a professional athlete nor spends hours in the gym, how that would be of any real benefit to me. If you're not sure about your gut health, or you've not been used to eating higher amounts of protein, I would say give it time. Don't push to eating very high protein straight away. I mean, it can really backfire on you. And remember, it's not a race to the top. Also, as I've said before, speak to your doctor or health professional before starting on the keto lifestyle. You know, back when I started, there were certain concerns over eating higher amounts of protein. There was a concern about kidney health. So would too much protein cause kidney issues? And then kind of worry about consuming higher amounts of protein, which would then be turned into glucose and stored by the body as fat. Certainly, I've never seen any evidence to support either of those concerns. There have been concerns about mTOR, and I will go into that process in another video because it really does deserve its own video, I feel. And not so much about the overconsumption of protein as the frequency of the nutrients. So really, this is a discussion that spills over into the longevity area, which probably would not concern younger people who might be happy to introduce a mid-afternoon protein shake, for instance. But for somebody like myself, so I'm 60 now, and in that case there might be a discussion to be had about mTOR and frequency of nutrients, and which does mean that maybe eating for weight loss is not necessarily the same thing as eating for health and longevity. And that's a decision that has to be made as to the direction of travel one is to take. But that's really a discussion for another day. So what are the factors to take into account when deciding on whether you're going to go towards the lower threshold or the upper threshold? So I've set these out, and these are just my own ideas, and over time you will develop your own ideas that you can set out. So the criteria I personally use to decide how much protein I'm going to eat per day is really dependent on what I'm doing, how I'm feeling that day, my gut health and my general overall energy levels. Also, it's worth mentioning here that I can eat a considerable amount of protein in the summer months, and if the sun is out, crazy as this may sound, this definitely seems to be a connection between vitamin D levels from the sun and capacity for increased protein. So that's it for today. So remember that numbers on keto are only part of the story. They are the navigating tools we can use to get onto the lifestyle. There is so much more to keto than eating to a set of numbers. Join me next time in my kitchen to find out more about this lifestyle, because we all deserve to find our own way to successful and sustainable weight loss. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you here again in the Keto Gaia kitchen. Take care and bye for now.